Hello, everybody. Bonjour, tout le monde. Welcome to the Wine with Jimmy YouTube channel. Delighted to have you here. And this is an educational channel all about the wonderful world of wine. We create lots of presentations and helpful slides to really get you through your wine qualifications. Or if you're just really into wine, you'll find these very fascinating. Now, as always, if you all have any questions, comments, or theories or concerns, please pop them in the comments section below this video. Always delighted to hear from you. Please make sure you click the like button and subscribe whilst you are there. Subscribing gets you weekly updates, and the like button gives us a little bit of a helping hand in the world of YouTube, which always is quite wonderful. So here we have a Loire Valley section of the diploma for the WSET. Now, the Loire Valley I have split into a multitude of series. So you'll see them just here. So I've got lots of series. Series 1 was the overview of the Loire. Series 2 is about the real western edge of the Loire, the Pays Nantais, and that includes the AOCs, such as all the Muscadets, for example. Series 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the remaining parts. So here in this series, we're looking at Series 2, and this is split into 4 parts. This video is free content on the world of YouTube, but parts 2 through to 4 will only be available on my wine portal. That's the e-learning portal, which is called www.winewithjimmy.com. If you also want to get in touch, you can do so via the social media if you are that way inclined. So let's look at the wonderful world of the Loire Valley. So let's jump into it. Here we go. So yes, you'll notice that the first picture actually I showed you is of the wonderful Chateau de Duc de Bretagne, and I'll go through that in a little bit more time. But before we do, I just want to show you the overview map, and then we'll go into a closer look at the Pays Nantais. Now, I'm not including a Google Earth 3D video in this. It will be included in the appellation video, which is number 4, part 4. So please do go along to that if you want to see a 3D active video to give you a real good feel for the area. But that is the whole of the Loire Valley. The Loire Valley, remember, being the longest river in France at over 1,000 kilometers, stretching from the Massif Central as it moves its way north and then finally west at Orléans, all the way to the city of Nantes on the estuary, where it meets the Atlantic. And that is the area that we're going to be looking at closer. So there it is. We call this the Lower Loire because it's where the Loire meets the ocean. So it's our lowest altitude. And it's called the countryside of Nantes, so Pays Nantais. And it's named after that capital city that we see just there for this little area. And we're really going to be focusing on the green zones during these presentations of Pays Nantais. There are other parts of the Loire Valley, certainly, and very famously, the Vendée coast down here, where we have quite an interesting production of wine. It's where wonderful cured meat comes from, and that is Jambon de Vendée. Really lovely stuff. Yeah, it's wonderful, but it's not a part of the diploma syllabus. But do look out for things like really good Chenin Blanc down there. There's even things like Negrette down here, Cabernet Franc, Chardonnay. There's a real good mix in that zone. But we're going up here to the green area on your map. And let's talk about the name of this area. So the Pays Nantais, of course, takes its name from the city of Nantes, as I just mentioned beforehand, of course, on the estuary of the Loire as it meets the Atlantic. Now, this is quite a famous site. There's a beautiful cathedral in Nantes, but this is very famous. This is Chateau de Duc de Bretagne. As you can see at the bottom, it's a large castle which is located in the city of Nantes. And of course, that's in the Loire Atlantique department. Now, it served as the center of the historical province of Brittany until its separation in 1956. It's located on the right bank of the Loire, so that'd be the north side. And it formerly, the Loire, of course, formerly fed its ditches. You'll see the moat around it, as you can see just there. It was the residence of the Dukes of Brittany, as you can see from the naming of it, the etymology of it, between the 13th and the 16th centuries, and subsequently becoming the Breton residence for the French monarchy as well. So beautiful, absolutely beautiful, well worth visiting. So what about the major concepts here behind the Pays Nantais? First of all, then, grape variety. The principal grape variety here is what we call melon, sometimes called melon blanc as well. Otherwise known locally, it could also be called Muscadet, but also it's called Melon de Bourgogne as well. You'll see it actually in the wine grapes book as melon, but you know, there is the argument that the grape originates from Burgundy, and of course its lineage is there. So Melon de Bourgogne potentially could be its full name. So any of those, but Muscadet, melon, melon blanc, melon de Bourgogne you will find. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this now, because in the next presentation, it's all about this grape variety. So we'll talk about the naming of it, its history, and we'll go through its classic characteristics in viticulture. And then, of course, what kind of style it produces. That's in our next video. There's also other varieties grown in the Loire too. We'll find varieties such as Chardonnay. Chardonnay is actually probably listed as the second most important grape variety in volume, but a lot of it goes into making vin de France in the area. There's also Gamay, and there's a significant amount of Faux Blanche, which is locally known as Gros Plante. It makes very acidic wines, which are often more delicate than Muscadet, and it's often sold more locally, domestically in this area and within France. Not much of it is exported, as the major export style is melon for sure. I mean, melon accounts for over 60% of plantations, so that's why it's the huge focus of the next presentation. What about the climatic and weather conditions of the area? Well, the Pays Nantais has a cool maritime climate. Now, that's because of its quite a high latitude, of course, putting it on level pegging with places like Chablis, Champagne, for example. So you have that cool instance, and of course, because of its location next to the Atlantic and at mercy of the Gulf Stream, you will find maritime being the general climate type. You'll have these cool springs. So always weather is water ridden. You'll have a lot of rainfall throughout the year. Warm and humid summers, once again, due to that water. And that threat of rain is specifically a problem during the time of flowering. So when we have flowering and fruit set, rainfall can be a significant problem that can reduce yields. And then, of course, later in the year, around harvest, so in September time when grapes are being picked, of course, this is an issue for problems around botrytis bunch rot, but also things like waterlogging, dilution, and all the typical things that you know around harvest. So rainfall, big factor in the area. The geology of this area. Now, I'm not going to talk about frost at this point. We're going to talk about geology first, then I'll move into frost, which can also be an issue in the zone. The Lower Loire is predominantly a flat coastline area with a few topographical markers. The area was a quite a hotbed of volcanic activity about 4,000 million years ago. That's quite a long time ago. And we have this soil which is called gneiss, and it's just a wonderful pun soil because you could say, if you like it, it's a really nice soil. It's a very British thing to say. Now, what is gneiss? Gneiss is a metamorphic rock which forms through the recrystallization of pre-existing rocks under high temperatures and pressure. This is what we call high-grade metamorphism. Now, this is based on volcanic rocks, as you can see here. They're very, very angular, these rocks, and they've been pressured under the earth and then eventually have been eroded out, so you can actually see them. So any soils on top have been eroded. Now, given the natural humidity of the seashore zone, a large and high subterranean water table, and also the river systems, plus rainfall, it is mightily important that we have soils which are very free draining. And that's exactly what gneiss does. It's absolutely critical for drainage. It's very porous, and it allows excellent root development as well. So mightily important soil type. Frost is another weather hazard that I want to put in here. Now, rainfall is the major weather hazard because it really is much more frequent a problem. But despite the proximity of the Atlantic, spring frosts can be a serious problem in this part. And in fact, there's quite an infamous year, and that's 1991. This was when we had very significant spring frosts around the Loire and really affecting this zone. The event actually really led to the loss of which was a booming export to the UK. Suddenly, and we talked about this actually on the wine business part of the overview series, suddenly there was a real drop in supply, prices go up, and at the same time as competition from other parts of the world, specifically New World. And this led to really a very difficult time ahead for Muscadet. And frost has actually been a more recurrent problem in recent years as well. And frost prevention measures are being put in place, such as wind machines, as well as heating, and also more kind of basic techniques like burning straw bales, for example. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this first video on the Pays Nantais. I really do hope that you found this useful. If you do have any comments or questions or concerns, remember, please pop them in the comments section below. Make sure you click like and also subscribe. The social media is also found at the bottom of every slide if you are that way inclined. Please do join me for video 2 on all things melon. And you'll need to subscribe to my portal. That's at winewithjimmy.com. That's my e-learning portal if you want access to these exclusive videos, plus extra content as well. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, if you do find yourself in the United Kingdom, it will be delightful to see you. Come and see me, please, at one of my establishments. Come and see me for a class, a glass, or a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Goodbye.